How many Bitcoins does it take to get some goddamn respect in this town?
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in the green. We are having some altcoins performing quite well today. We had a bit of a little scare yesterday with Bitcoin. We dumped down to about $28,000. We did pump all the way back up. However, we did not get back above the critical level of $32,786. This is the exact dollar level that I said in yesterday's video. You can literally go back and watch the video. We hit that level exactly, and we did have a rejection. So I am still looking for that breakout. If we don't have the ability to break above that, Bitcoin could have a short-term accumulation or maybe even some downside selling pressure. Now, what I want to talk about specifically in today's video is that there are some people out there saying, buy Bitcoin now. We have to buy Bitcoin. It's going to 100K. It's going to 100 and, whatever. I mean, JP Morgan came out. They're saying $146,000. But we also saw the CEO of De Beers Group selling some of his Bitcoin. And some people were wondering what exactly happened in this sell-off. Are institutions finally saying, hey, that's enough. Rally's over. We did really well. See you in a couple of years. So some people are saying buy. Some people are saying wait. Well, I want to tell you right now that this is a trap. We need to look at what has happened in the past for Bitcoin to help us understand what is happening right now. And I'm going to show you exactly what happened, what is most likely about to happen, the price of Bitcoin potentially by the end of this year, and whether or not institutions are in fact finally cashing out. So all of that in today's video, but don't worry, we're going to do it in a super quick and rapid, digestible manner. And also, just to let you know, there was some big news from the comptroller over in the US. You might want to stick around to the end of the video for that one. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Get subscribed, drop a comment, free Telegram group in the description. But we filled the CME gap, so we don't need to talk about that. Moving on, having a look right here, we did have difficulty breaking above, like I said, this $32,786 level. You could see it was a resistance back here, then it became a support, and boom, just as I said in yesterday's video, we hit that level exactly. In fact, if you were looking to make trades on this particular chart, that would have actually been an excellent opportunity for a short-term short. Now, I don't necessarily suggest you short Bitcoin. I can never really suggest that. I don't give financial advice on this channel, but if you are interested in learning how to make money when Bitcoin price goes up, as well as when it goes down, you can check out my Bybit tutorial link above. $200 bonus for sign up. Keep in mind, this does expire January 11th, but having a look, I just wanted to sort of talk about something specifically, okay? Now, this is the Bitcoin chart from back around 2016 leading into the beginning of 2017. And you could see that from a lot of people's perspective, this did look like it was putting in a parabolic curve to the top. And then we did have this drop from $789 all the way down 40% to $479. And people thought that this was the end. Fast forward, we kept going up and up and up, and every single time we would have a major drop, people would think that would be the end, and then Bitcoin just continued to climb and climb and climb and climb, and eventually all of these, ended up just looking like blips, and then we got to the 2017 all-time high. That was it. The bubble had crashed. It was over. We went into a multi-year bear market, but lo and behold, again, we started to pump, and as we zoom out, we could see that now this 2017 all-time high is now starting to look like these little bubbles down here. So what is the point? What am I trying to say here? Well, what I am trying to say is that, yes, markets do have ebbs and flows. And of course, in typical retail fashion, I am buying at the top and I am selling at the bottom, right? That is the emotions that take us over. Well, let's have a look at what we're doing right now. If we actually take 3 of the most critical points in recent Bitcoin's history, we have the ultimate capitulation at the end of the bear market, we have the bottom of the bear market in December of 2018, and we have the first initial uptrend that started the next beginning of the bull run, right? And you could see that these form a giant ascending ascending pattern, right? An ascending broadening wedge, essentially. So having a look right now, you could see that starting from the capitulation down here, if we drew a line from there and connected it to the point of the top of the 2019 $13,500 bubble, then we are noticing that this is exactly where Bitcoin is having rejection right now. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that I'm becoming bearish or I'm saying you should sell your Bitcoin. That may have been the dip. Maybe that was it. Maybe we continue to the moon. But there is a possibility that we do minimally come down to retest somewhere along this heart line of the ascending wedge. Now, I'll be straight up. If we were to dump right now down to the bottom, I got some good news for you. That still puts Bitcoin above $20,000. But that would be a 30+% crash like the ones I showed you previously. So some people might panic, some people might sell, or here's the flip side. Some people may actually be waiting for this to happen and refusing to buy right now. So let's look at why we actually had the crash. What exactly happened during that $6,000 crash that we had the other day? Bitcoin went from around 30,500 to 33,000, excuse me. We also had Ethereum going from 1,170 back down to 900. Now, according to information from analytics company Sentiment, the so-called mid-tier holders took the opportunity to collect short-term profits. These addresses contain between 10 to 1,000 Bitcoins. So, what does this tell us? And between 100 and 10,000 ETH. So this tells us that that crash was not from the institutions. It was not from the macro giant whales. It was from the mid-tier whales, okay? These were probably some people, maybe they got into crypto in the beginning of the year, they did really well, and they were like, I'm taking some profit, but this was not from the institutions. In fact, they also refuted the claims that whales and institutional investors with massive Bitcoin have started to dispose their digital assets. In contrast, the company highlighted that Bitcoin addresses with over 1,000 tokens and ETH wallets with over 10,000 ETH had actually increased their earnings and increased in wallet sizes, going up 51 and 17 respectively, meaning while the mid-tier guys were selling, the big institutions were accumulating. In fact, you can see right here, institutional appetite for Bitcoin is increasing. According to Arcane Research, the daily volume of LMAX reached a record high of 2.62 billion. During the same time, the CME Bitcoin futures also achieved an all-time high. And they said the massive increase in trading volume of institutional platforms comes as funds are aggressively investing into Bitcoin. And like Samson Mao says, okay, institutional investors don't decide to buy Bitcoin at a certain price. They make a decision to buy a certain amount in dollars, usually hundreds of millions, and then buy over time regardless of price movements. And contrary to popular belief, people think that if the price gets too high, that means that the institutions are going to stop buying because the market is overheated. Well, if you stick around for another couple minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why, as the price goes up, they actually buy more. I know that sounds crazy, but let me explain that in just a minute. You can see right here, by the way, if you don't think they're buying, Coinbase outflows on January 2nd was at an all-time high. This means that institutions were buying Bitcoin over the $30,000 level. Now, if these guys are buying at $30,000 and above, do you honestly think they're going to sell when the price goes to 34 or 35 for a measly little percentage? No, these are long-term holders. And like Samson Mao said again, he says, I know you guys aren't panicking, but just in case you are, One River, okay, $1.6 billion fund bought $600 million, and they're looking to buy another $400 million. Guggenheim, a $5.3 billion fund, bought $530 million. Skybridge, a $9.2 billion fund, bought $182 million, and Ruffer, a $275 billion fund, bought $744, and you guys know about Mass Mutual. That was a huge, huge story, but even crazier, as far as Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is concerned, we have Singapore investment firm Three Arrows being a massive institutional whale responsible for about 6.1% of GBTC shares, holding 1.2 billion Bitcoin, or almost 40,000 actual Bitcoin. coins. And if you don't believe that this is growing and that they are buying, you can see right here that just 9 funds alone hold 737,000 Bitcoin worth $23 billion. And this is just getting started. Eventually, it's not a matter of, if, but when the rest of these guys start putting it on the balance sheet. And if you don't believe that Bitcoin can hit these crazy prices, once again, watch my video yesterday where I explained how Bitcoin can get to $5 million by governments, countries actually putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet as their reserve as fiat continues to devalue. You have strategists over at JP Morgan Chase forecasting a potential $146,000 Bitcoin. Now, they say a crowding out of gold as an alternative currency implies a big upside for Bitcoin over time. A convergence in volatilities between Bitcoin and gold is unlikely to happen quickly and is, in our mind, a multi-year process. This implies that the $146,000 Bitcoin may not happen this year, but will eventually happen, although it could happen this year. In fact, if we actually look at what Raoul Pal has been saying about how Bitcoin could reach $1 million, he says what's interesting is that the more that the Bitcoin price goes up, the more that the market cap goes up, the more financial institutions literally need to have it. Its price performance also draws more interest. He actually mentions Plan B. You guys may follow him over on Twitter, the stock to flow model. He says, if you look at how it is just so scarce over time and how much demand there is versus the supply, 900 Bitcoin come out per day, but the supply is 3, 4, 5, 6 times right now. And I don't even think we're really at the true frenzy, the true blow off moment yet. I think we're still in, where are we right now in the bull market? I can't give you an exact, but I would say we still have a good 25% left, right? If we're looking at the four-year cycles, and the majority of those games come at the final end, right? They come in the last 25%. So if you think you've missed out, you might have missed out at the really, 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 really good opportunities, but you definitely haven't missed out yet, right? And this is how he says it could get to 1 million. He says, efforts to launch a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund will likely be key. However, I have a feeling that since Jay Clayton did recently step down from the SEC, and now we do have a much more friendly chairman coming in, I think a Bitcoin ETF is in fact very possible. Now, do keep in mind that we do have the Georgia race happening. Investors are paying attention. Now, this is the short term. If Democrats win both seats, it will make it simpler for President-elect Joe Biden to pass additional fiscal stimulus without any political resistance from Republicans. So what does this mean? Well, this is short term. This could even apply to stocks, but more fiat liquidity expects to push the US dollar lower against strong emerging currencies, right? We've seen the dollar index continue to fall. And, not only is it bad for US citizens, but also for the world. A lot of the world denominates their currencies in relationship to the US dollar. If the US dollar continues to fall, why are they going to hold US dollars on their balance sheets? Now, of course, they could turn to gold, but when you have something like Bitcoin that pretty much continuously just outperforms gold time and time again, why would they allocate more money to things like, gold, but especially to the dollar, right? So given the fact that Bitcoin has rose 300% in just the past year, you may see more people start to allocate that. Now, getting back to the Georgia race, I got a little off topic, but they do say a Republican win could create a standoff over additional stimulus proposals. But yeah, either way, at the end of the day, these are just short term, right? These are nothing really long term to be worried about. Now, big news. We have the U.S. Office of the Comptroller of Currency, who, by the way, said that they are not looking to ban Bitcoin. Remember, we saw that interview on Squawk Box. They published a crypto-friendly guideline allowing greater participation by regulated financial institutions into the industries, or as I've highlighted, U.S. banks can now use stablecoins and blockchains for settlement. So, according to the letter, a national bank or federal thrift association can run nodes for validating, storing, and recording transactions on public blockchain networks. The guideline also revealed that banks can use stablecoins for payments, etc. Now, this could actually be bullish for some of these protocols, right? Could it be bullish for Bitcoin? Maybe, possibly, right? Bitcoin could eventually get slid in there as a means of exchange, but I think it could also be bullish for these protocols like Ethereum, right? Lots of these stablecoins are mostly on Ethereum, USDT, USDC. Now, this might be bad for the regulation for some of them. You know, if they come out and say, hey, Tether's illegal, that could be a problem. But as long as you're using the one that they're okay with, the regulated one, probably going to be USDC or something like that. So this could be really big for Ethereum. It could be really big for Polkadot. It could be really big for Elrond, depending on who these, you know, different people decide to use. But yeah, some altcoins are not doing quite well. And this is just the other, you know, I hate doing the altcoin warning because, you know, a lot of new people come into crypto and they want to get into the altcoins. And if you go back to my early videos, I was huge into altcoins. I almost didn't even talk about Bitcoin. I was like, why would you want to buy Bitcoin? Bitcoin is slow, it's old, it's clunky, you know, it's too expensive, right? Well, look what happened to most of the altcoins. They fell 90+%. And to this day, the majority of them have still yet to even come close to breaking their all-time highs. I mean, as well as Ethereum is doing, Ethereum still has not broken its previous all-time high. I think it will, by the way, but Ethereum is a very rare exception, let me just say. Now, you could see XRP very, very far away from its all-time high, which was upwards of $2, I think, or something like that. You have seen Grayscale removing their XRP. So do be careful out there, the altcoins that you are looking to invest in. Granted, this is only 1.46% of their fund, but, you know, I was browsing Reddit, and this person said he bought some altcoins back in 2018. He came back and checked them out today to see how they're doing, considering crypto's been going crazy. And he says, I am still down 60% from my initial investment. I have VeChain, Nano, Request Network, a little bit of XRP, and Stellar. Now, Nano, arguably, right? That should have been great, you know, instant feeless. VeChain, they're still out there hustling today, right? In fact, I think aren't they doing something right now with the vaccines, getting them, you know, officially on the blockchain, validated, something like that. Stellar, right? People are using that still as a payment network. That was a competitor potentially to XRP, which you could also build on top of, right? Request Network. These are all things that looked really great, right? And yet they're still down. So, you know, do be careful. Like I said, I don't want you guys to think that I'm totally against altcoins. I'm not. There's a lot of channels out there right now that altcoin this, altcoin that. Fine. Yes, great. I personally utilize altcoins to get more Bitcoin. That's my strategy, right? So like I said, I like to focus on the ones that do have a lot of buzz going on, but also could, you know, short term really have a nice play with the markets. And, you know, I was telling you guys about, if we are looking at, you know, banks being able to utilize different protocols, then look at the protocols, right? Ethereum is the #1 protocol. Polkadot, I personally believe, is a massive, massive up-and-comer that I think is going to do quite well. And I think Elrond is another amazing protocol level as well. And recently, they did just partnered with Terra Virtua. Now, Terra Virtua is an NFT ecosystem that features brands like Paramount Pictures, Legendary Entertainment, Unreal, and Unity. And these are the types of projects I'm looking at. I think Elrond is a great project. They've done well. I mentioned them on the channel. Anybody that bought when I mentioned it, you guys are tremendously up. They just hit an all-time high. Congratulations. And I think NFTs are going to be huge. They're practical. They make sense in modern, you know, society. People playing video games, transferring collectibles. Everything's going digital, right? Gold has gone digital in the form of Bitcoin. And I think collectibles are going to go digital, as well as assets as well. Registries, licenses, things like that. I think they're all going to go digital. So that's why I think, first of all, I just wanted to mention this partnership, but that is big as well. And I also want to look into things like oracles, you know, also APIs on the blockchain. You have API that is going to be Glitch's primary oracle partner. So I said, keep in mind these, you know, Polkadot projects. You're going to see oracles coming out on Polkadot. You're going to see APIs, things like that, NFTs, protocols. These are all the things you want to focus on, right? You know, farming potatoes and things like that. You know, it was fun to make some quick flips. But anyway, guys, I don't want to ramble on too much about altcoins, as you guys know. Yeah, but that is it for me today. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. The main point of this video was do not be fooled. We may potentially have that correction. You know, like I said, we are in this ascending, you know, broadening wedge, and we may come down and retest this level. We could even come down and retest the bottom of this at some point. You know, it might not be until way out here where, you know, we might retest it down here after having, you know, a massive blast off move. But I just want to be realistic and let you guys know that these things are going to happen. But keep in mind, it's not the institution selling. We do have the data to prove that. And, you know, when is a good time to buy Bitcoin? Well, The best time to buy Bitcoin was a year ago. The next best time is now, right? So that being said, not financial advice. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Friendly reminder, if you haven't watched my Bybit tutorial that is popping up right here, check that out. And until next time, guys, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.